Hello, this is Brexit Matman coming to you from Brexit Now headquarters in northwest London at a secret location. And this is first broadcast after Brexit Day, the great and wonderful day, and we're all extremely happy, and also we seem to have a leader in Boris Johnson, who is recognising we are now a sovereign nation and is not going to get bullied by the European Union, who are terrified now that they have a competitor, a global competitor, on their doorstep. But that's great, and but I want to talk to you about what we're going to do now. Because Nigel Farage said that after Brexit, the next thing is reform. And he's absolutely right. Nigel Farage is always right, it seems. And so that is our mission now, reform. And we launched here, it's called the Reformation Bill 2020. We launched it on Brexit Day. We were in Westminster, we were in the square, we were actually at Churchill's statue with a table, and we got 360 people to sign the Restoration Bill, which we want to take to Boris Johnson, because the Restoration Bill is about the restoration of our natural rights given to us by God, that we are the rulers, not the government, not the state, not the monarch, not the parliament, not the government, but we are the sovereign citizens of the nation. Sovereignty comes from God, freedom is given to us by God, and therefore freedom gives us the power, freedom gives us inspiration. And we are now a free nation, and we have that inspiration. But the institutes of our nation, the institutions of our nation are still far, far from perfect, and now is the time for reform, now is the time for change. And we will be bringing this we're going to take this bill, which was eagerly signed by so many people. In fact, we could have got a lot more signatures, but we got rained on, the pens got wet, the canvas got wet, and then it got crowded and more crowded as people came in. People were falling on our table. We had to pack up. It got dark. It became so crowded. We couldn't do anything, but that was okay because we were happy. We were coming to 11 o'clock. Nigel Farage gave a great, wonderful speech, and a sea of flags. The most beautiful sight I've seen, I don't know, other than the Grand Canyon maybe, but it was the most wonderful sight. It was like King Arthur. It was like that God's army was there, all these thousands of flags. The ancestors, the spiritual ancestors of all the people who were there were gathered with us, celebrating our liberty, our freedom. And now we have to make a nation that we can be proud of, a nation that is based on these principles. And so that is why we are bringing the Restoration Bill 2020. We want to take it around the country. I want thousands of people to sign it. I want to establish the Sovereign Citizens Alliance all around the country, that we will demand our rights. We will establish what I call the Rod of Iron Kingdom, which is, the Rod of Iron Kingdom is the nation based on the Second Amendment. And this is the vision of the man that I've shown you in the films, in the videos, the pastor, Sean Moon, and he is leading the world actually in a revolution, saying that all the citizens must be armed. All citizens must have the Second Amendment, not because we run around shooting each other, but because we need the right. You are not free unless you have the right to protect yourself. And you look around the world, who is it that you have to protect yourself from? It's usually the state. Of course, in this country, we have got used to having basically a very benign state, because we have a settlement, we have a step between Parliament and the monarchy, which was established in 1688-89, and that has worked well, fairly well anyway. But there are times when a government becomes too strong, too overbearing, interferes in the lives of people, establishes a situation where people go to prison for saying words, and that power is backed up by the gun. The power of the state is backed up by the gun. And that's the reality. They have it. So a terrorist goes wild, people get killed on the street, you have to wait for the police because they are the ones that have got the guns. Well, why don't we have the guns? But you cannot have guns unless you have discipline, unless you have responsibility, unless you have a stable society, unless you have a God-centered society, because God's rules, the principles of love God, love your neighbor as yourself, are the principles and the rules that were laid down 2,000 years ago. And these by Jesus Christ. He was a leader, a great leader, but they didn't understand what he was about. They crucified him. But nothing could stop him. Christianity grew. And our culture is Christian. And part of, whether you don't have to be a super religious person to be Christian, because it's righteousness. God exists where righteousness is, where goodness is. You don't need a church as such. You need to be good, you need to be righteous, and God lives with you, lives within you. And you establish a nation based on those principles. But we have gone far, far, far away from that. And because there has been a concerted effort by the left, in particular, the Marxists, since the time of Marx, to destroy Christianity, because they hate Christianity, they hate faith, they hate religion, they hate God. That's the fundamental basis of what communism is about, to establish a materialist society. And therefore, we are now going to destroy the cultural Marxists who have destroyed our nation. We're going to root them out. We're going to root them out of our education system. We're going to bring the people together. And that's what the Restoration Bill is here.